The game. Don't get gacked. Zan on the play. Bloodstained Mire, no one drop. Just a pass. See how Hafner can get set up. Finds a snow-covered swamp off a polluted delta.
Hogak.
I had to know you weren't going to be able to not do that.
I'm sorry. It's just who I am.
You can't fix this.
Yeah. I've been trying to be better for, I don't know, going on 14 years now. And it just doesn't, it's nothing. I don't know. It's never going to change.
Citrus Supplier was a turn one play for Hafner. Found just some junk in a Faithless Looting. Syed Lava Spiked in to light up the stage. Finds Lightning Bolt, and I believe that's a Lava Dart. Another Citrus Supplier for Hafner. This time finds a Vengevine in the graveyard. Carrion Feeder brings that back. And the Gack. Looking like a close one. Syed attack down to 15.
Reasonably fair and balanced.
These are the decks where the Phoenix deck has to be on the table before the Gack shows up.
Can someone clip this and just tweet it at Aaron Forsythe? Please.
Metamorphose for Syed.
Save my turn 3 format.
Could maybe get some Phoenixes online. See a Faithless Looting.
Great.
Yeah, it's all about silver lining.
Great.
3/2 is, of course, slightly smaller than 8/8 with Trample.
I've heard that.
But it's anyone's game. See, there is a Lava Dart. That's not a Phoenix. One red mana floating. Monastery Swift Spear.
You love to see it.
It's a 1/2. Wooded Foothills.
Okay.
Sacrifice. Say it to 14. Maybe cast one of these cards off light up the stage. Don't do a lot against that Carrion Feeder, though. Lightning Bolt upstairs. You're at 11. Hafner on notice.
Hafner here with roughly 100,000 power on the battlefield on turn 2. Gonna start doing some shenanigans with Carrion Feeder. Gonna sack Vengevine and Stitcher Supplier. And it looks like he's probably got 2 creatures to play, which is gonna continually bring, Vengevine back. Attack for a bajillion.
Does it the easy way with the Grave Crawler.
Now this is a lethal attack here on turn 3. Zan has to chump block or else he's actually dead on turn 3 and functionally dead on turn 4.
Yeah, it's a turn 4 format.
I mean, honestly, if Zan had like Faithless Looting, 2 Phoenix, Bolt, could win.
This start for Hafner is not the kind of thing that Zan never beats. I want to be clear about that.
Oh, yeah.
But he did not beat it in this particular instance.
I mean, sure, but this is a real question. How often do you watch this Hogak deck not have a turn 2 Hogak? I would say it's almost equal turn 2 Hogak versus not.
I caught it on the time-shifted match, and I was surprised. The guy just didn't have a Hogak on turn 2, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah, huh?
There's a lot of cards in your graveyard. You got 2 creatures.
Why aren't you casting
Where's your Hogak?
Yeah, you've seen 15 cards. You should have found one by now.
That's just math.
Hafner playing this deck super clean. Just want to give him props for that great technical play. Not sloppy and also quick. Closes the game on turn 4. Attacked for lethal on 3. Zan did have the chump block. And if Zan had a slightly better draw, might have potentially actually won that game. But unfortunately for Zan, just a little too much from the Hogak deck.
Now Zan's sideboard is packing. He's got 4 Leyline of the Void and 2 Surgical Extraction.
Yeah, that's pretty common when you're expecting to play against Dredge or Hogak or is it Phoenix in every single opponent. 6 is the number that you like.
And there's no real cost to putting Leyline in your deck because you can just Metamorphose into casting it.
It just got reprinted in Core Set 2020. And I'll tell you what, I would not be surprised if it was still $50 by the end of this weekend or something. There are 800 copies at the Mythic Championship in Barcelona this weekend. 800!
It's not a trivial number.
There are more ley lines than basic lands, probably.
They did that same graphic for the last Mythic Championship, the one in London, and I want to say the most played card was in the
Surgical
ballpark.
Extraction.
Well, I think the numbers were in the ballpark of 500 is what I was saying.
Oh, sure. But it was still Surgical Extraction.
Oh, yeah. That's also not good.
Yeah, I mean, when the most played card is a hate card, something's got to change. And honestly, I'm going to be real with you because we got some time here while they're shuffling. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think the Faithless Looting needs to go. And I don't care if you love playing your Faithless Looting deck and you're not doing anything degenerate with your Faithless Looting deck. I am an Izzet Phoenix player myself. I love Faithless Looting. I love discarding Arclight Phoenix. I love playing fair with a card or slightly unfair but still explosive enough to be a modern deck. It's too good.
Yeah, there's a similar comparison when people talk about Gataxian Probe.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be playing some blue deck and people will say, don't you wish you could cast Gataxian Probe? I was like, no, because I'll be losing on turn 2 to Death Shadow.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, Gataxian Probe just as a free spell for any deck can play it that wants to play it, especially combo decks, to see if the coast is clear. It just kind of takes away that fun element of surprise from an unknown opponent's hand. You know, the real gross part was playing it alongside Creatures with Prowess, Death Shadow, and a number of other things that just fill the graveyard. It was just super annoying. And it got the ban for a couple reasons, but mostly because it's free. And here we see Hogak being free. Faithless Looting usually generates upwards of 10 mana a game. You know, it's cheating. Cheating all these creatures into play.
So we saw Zan keep on 5, no ley line. Found a Surgical to go with these 2 Prowess creatures, exiled Grave Crawlers. You see a Vengevine, a Wayfinder, and a Supplier left over in Hafner's hand, along with an Assassin's Trophy. That hand's pretty stocked against a low-resource opponent.
Yeah, but Zan doesn't have a second land, so the chances of him having a really explosive next turn is pretty small. If he draws a land, though, he could go off. He's going to shock for a Swift Spear and attack with 3 Prowess creatures, threatening perhaps a Lightning Bolt or a Lava Dart to do some serious damage. Did mulligan to 5, though.
It's like 1 Supplier in front of the Soulscar Mage. And the Swift Spear is just connecting. And I think just 1 card left over for Syed.
I believe it is a Lightning Bolt. It is a white border card, and I know earlier we saw him playing with white border bolts.
That Supplier is going to go down, and it's going to take a Vengevine from the top of the deck into the graveyard with it. So Satyr Wayfinder cast. Syed responds with Lightning Bolt on the Citrus Supplier. Try to get that zombie off the table, perhaps? But now it's going for the Wayfinder. I don't like that as much.
Yeah, he would give him an extra few cards, but could potentially cast a Gravecrawler from the grave. Oh, no, those are all gone, so I don't know. Doesn't really matter too much.
Saw some sideboard technology flipped over.
Whoa.
Rotting Regisaur to the graveyard for Hafner.
Oh.
6 toughness is a lot.
That's true.
Gut shot on the Supplier, some trophies, and a fatal push to the graveyard. And here's an attack for 6.
Yeah, and even though Zan mulled to 5 and got stuck on 1 land for a couple turns here, he's potentially threatening lethal next turn with any instant or sorcery, and Hafner's going to have a really good turn here to survive.
Yeah, at 6, what can he do?
Oh, he drew Faithless Looting. The game's over. Never mind.
That's not a bad one.
Just going to discard a couple copies of Vengevine, play some cheap creatures. Oh, there's another Vengevine. Oh, there's a Satyr Wayfinder.
So there's 3 Vengevines coming back.
Oh, cast a Hogak.
Some Hogaks to the graveyard.
You know.
Attack you for 12, make an 8/8. Oh, just an attack for 4. He's going to play a little conservatively. His life total is low.
Playing some D.
Brings back the GAC.
Zan has no cards in hand, and Hafner has 3 blockers for these 3 attackers. And now, with that Hogak having trample, there's a good chance that this Assassin's Trophy means that this attack is going to be for lethal.
Back-to-back lava spikes, lightning bolts. Maybe could have done it for Syed, but he did not find him. Chris Hafner quickly dispatches in.